quiet moments before the world wakes up, there's a place where pain meets peace, where every breath feels like a prayer and grief stands still. We carry the weight of what was and search for meaning in the smallest things. And sometimes all it takes is one moment to remind us we're still here, still healing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. You guys know who it is. This is Tony Lynch. I'm the host of this podcast. And yes, we are your number one podcast to bring you stories around death, down, and grief. All the messiness comes in between with some amazing people out here changing people's lives one heartbeat at a time. And of course, I have an amazing guest for you guys today. Now, before I bring them up here, I would like to say, if this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head on over to that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. And most importantly, this is a live stream. So if you have any questions or comments for either myself or my guest, please put them in the comment section. We'll be sure to answer them as we go. One other thing, this is for educational purposes only. Now, without further ado, guys, help me welcome my next guest, Big Coach Teon, to the show. Coach, how you doing?
How we doing, my brother Tony? I am happy to be in the house today, my brother.
Man, I'm excited for this. Man. And, I'm really, excited to share your story with the audience, but also, most importantly, the work that you do. So Now, before we get into it, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, man. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and about the work that you do.
Sure. Thank you for that, Tony. I am Coach Teon Singletary, the motivator of excellence. And I have two businesses that I love to operate within my purpose, my gift, my calling over my life. The first one is SP Serves Publishing, where I do book publication and I help authors to be able to publish their book. I even have a couple books published myself. I'm currently a 10-time #1 bestselling author, and hopefully by the end of summer or in August, September timeframe, I will be a 12-time #1 bestselling author. But we will see. If it's God's will, it will happen. My second business is TS Leadership Empowerment, where I empower and inspire greatness within you, as my sign up above my head says. And that one deals with professional leadership coaching, speaking, teaching, and what I really love is speaking life into the youth. And this past week, I was able to do just that, to live out my calling with a summer camp where I was able to speak life into the young generation of this world. And you got to live out your passion, right? And so this is what I do in my life. I love to live out my passion, my calling in everything that I do. So with all the activities I volunteer for, it has to align with my businesses in some sort of form, which aligns with my calling, which aligns with my purpose in life.
I love that. Now, before we get into your story, I want to just touch on what you just said, living out your passion in life. Now, elaborate on that just a little bit.
Yes. So a lot of people in this world goes through life, I like to say, like a zombie. They just go and they just follow the rat race. But that's just living a life, just to live day to day. But if you want to live a life of significance, a true life of significance, you got to understand what your calling is. You got to understand what your purpose is in life. And once you find out that purpose and you begin to live out that passion of your purpose, man, no one will be able to stop you. Whatever comes your way, you will be able to push through it with no issue. Like your haters will be on the sidelines trying to talk bad about you, maybe stabbing you in the back. But because you are living out your purpose, you will be able to just say, I'm not worried about you. I'm going to focus on the future. I'm going to focus on the road ahead that God has designed for me to walk, designed for me to travel. And that's life. We all have a particular journey to walk. And it is up to us to make the decision to decide, to take action and take that first step forward within that journey. And you can do it. Like we all can do it. But when you do it with purpose and you do it with that passion, man, it comes off in a way where you can feel it. It's an emotional thing. And when people can feel your passion, the rest is history.
This is true, man. This is true. And I want to give a big shout out to my man, Dave in Greece. That's my brother from another mother. Thank you for tuning in, and everyone else who has been tuning in as well. So he's another great guy out here changing people's lives, man. And been a huge inspiration to me. It keeps me going. It keeps me grounded. And I love speaking with him. We got to get back to doing that. And he says, just keep impacting the world, brother. One heartbeat at a time, brother. That's what we're trying to do. And of course, we got Coach Teon here today. So, Coach, let's get into your story, man.
Yes.
Tell people your journey and how you got into the work that you're doing.
So, how many of us have like deficiencies in our life? Some things that's holding us back from really living our calling, our purpose. Because that is my talk. It's our purpose, right? We all got deficiencies, and I too had deficiencies. I too still have deficiencies. I used to stutter a lot. I had a very stammer issue. I'm bow-legged, pigeon-toed, had a very squeaky voice like this growing up. And people used to pick on me. And because of that, when I was younger, my self-image was very low. My self-confidence in who I was very low. Sometimes you even had teachers picking on my ability or my disability, in a sense, you would say, my deficiency, which continue to hit me down, to continue to push me down. And because of those deficiencies, I allow certain things to hold me back. I allow myself to not read as much as I should, because I did not like reading. So I never read a book from cover to cover when I was in school. Not one book from cover to cover. I used to go online, do a search. What is the summary of this book? And then I used to write a summary to that summary. That's how I was getting by, because I hated reading. And I hated reading because of my deficiency, my stuttering issue. Didn't want to read in class. Because of that, afraid to read in front of people because of my deficiencies. But there was a moment in my life that was a turning point. And it was one of these, everyone has a turning point in their life. It was a moment where I had to go in for surgery with the doctor because I had a traumatic mishap, I would say now. And that was one day one of my friends was playing with a pellet gun. I had 2 pellet guns, and we was gonna play cops and robbers outside in the backyard. Usually every time before I put my rifles up, my guns up, I always clear it, make sure that there was no bullet or anything in it. So I know for no shot of doubt that it was clear. So I gave it to my friend. He got it. He was like, "There's nothing in there." I said, "Nope, there's nothing in it." He pointed the gun at me, and wow, it hit me. As I ran around the backyard like a chicken with its head cut off, my mother came outside. "What's going on?" Send my friend home, start trying to doctor me up. Come to find out that it hit me right in my lip, and it cracked one of my teeth. So we quickly went to the emergency room because my lip was just swelled up and it wasn't going down. And then the doctor was like, we need to do a emergency surgery. Like, the round is still enlarged in his lips. And as we drove 2 hours later down the road to the doctor that was going to do this surgery, 4 hours later, it was complete. And this now is like in the AM in the morning. And the doctor was like, "Young man, you are blessed. You are so blessed. If that round had hit you 1 centimeter up or 1 centimeter lower, we would not be having this conversation right now. Just 1 centimeter higher or lower. Because of my teeth block the round from going any further than just being enlarged in my lip. So sometimes I got a little ball there in my lip just to remind me of that dramatic moment in my life where it could have been gone.
Yeah.
I could have been done. So that continued to remind me, like, there is a purpose over my life. There is a reason why I'm here. So I begin to live life differently. I begin to live life somewhat with no fear, knowing that there is a purpose over my life. And I begin to live out my passion. It took me time to get there. I'm telling you, this was a journey. In life is a journey, right?
Yeah.
But I began to take the necessary steps, the necessary actions to get me to where I am today. But we all have a moment, a pivotal moment in our life, and I could share many. That is just one moment that changed the history of my life.
Yeah.
And we all have that. And we all have that. So once I begin to walk this journey and begin to try to live life on a better note, we all have our setbacks. And I had a setback when I was engaged with a young lady, and we broke up our engagement, and I was just heartbroken, a big old hole in my heart, and I began to turn into someone that I hated. I began to become the person that people didn't want to be around. I was very negative. I had a very high ego. I didn't care about anyone's feelings but my own. I was just very disrespectful, even to my parents. I was disrespectful for like 2-3 years. This is where I was. My birthdays was my worst days. It's like I was living in a nightmare. But then again, another pivotal moment. It hit me. What are you doing with your life? This one setback, this one heartbreak is not the end. It's something that you can learn from. So I went away with the military service 1 year for a whole year. And I took that time to reflect. I took that time to really write out my life plan. Where was I? Where am I right now? And where I want to go. And I began to draw out that plan. And as I was doing this discovery, this research of my life and where I came from and what I'm trying to do in the future, I began to realize that the reason why I wasn't moving forward is because I had a lot of hatred in my heart. And not only did I need to forgive others, but I needed to forgive myself. I needed to forgive me. So I began to go through this journey, and I began to read the Bible because I'm spiritual, and I began to read the Bible from cover to cover. Yes, from cover to cover. The first book I read from cover to cover, to be exact. And I began to see things differently. The veils that was over my eyes, that was blinding me from reality, began to peel off. And I began to see, wow, who is this guy? What am I doing with my life? So I began to call people and text people, email people. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Can we move forward? I had to look myself in the mirror. Teon Singletary. Brother, I am so sorry. What can we do to move forward from this? And I start to take that journey. I start to take that new chapter in my life. Our life is like a book. We have chapters, layers of chapters. And at the beginning of each chapter, we have the ability to write the script on how that chapter is going to go. So it's up to us to make that decision. It's up to us to write it out and decide. We have to move forward. I have to move forward. And what is that plan? Create that plan. And once you create that plan, again, spiritually, pray to God and ask Him to help you order your steps and allow Him to order your steps. That was the only way I was able to get out of that trauma that I was in. And because I followed the hope that my mother gave me way back when, is that you always got to keep God first in everything that you do. And I began to fall back on that foundation. And that's when my life began to change. And when my life began to change, I realized, okay, who else in this world is going through the same thing that I'm going through right now? Who else need to hear my story? Who else need to receive the steps that I took that they can take right now in order to have a better life? So I began to speak openly about my issues, my problems, and my setbacks, and what I did to come back. Yeah, that's a setback, but you have comeback power. We all have comeback power to jump forward and not backwards. But we have to make that conscious decision, draw a line in the sand and say, that's it, period. We got to move forward. And I just thank God. I thank God for the ability, that mindset to step out in faith and to allow his glory to shine through me.
Like that.
Yeah.
Leads me. We got a couple of comments over here from my buddy over at Color of Grief. He says he know what it's like from what you was talking about earlier, being shot. And he just said, he put up there before you said it, a setback or a stage for a setup for success. And he says, you're on point with all of this. So, it just goes to show you that there's more people out there that are going through something similar and have the same mindset. Now, which leads me to my first question, because mindset is everything. But the challenge is getting out of victim, getting out of survival mode, and rewiring your thought pattern to get out of that in order to start living, thriving, but also planning, right? And biggest part of it is writing it out. You know how many people out there are so afraid of looking beyond the life that they have and imagining the life that they can be?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, because I used to be that guy, right? I didn't know that I can write the chapters in my life. I was so used to surviving. And I didn't know people live good lives, right? It took me a long time and being around some different people to know that people didn't do the things that I did, right? Not everybody had to go out here and fight for everything or had to go through a lot of the things. But what I did find out is that although they didn't go through the same things, they went through similar things. And I began to connect on those different areas. And without even knowing it, people were speaking life into me. And there was people that genuinely cared about me, but I was so wrapped up into thinking to myself, is this person what are your intentions? Are you going to try to hurt me? So I lived majority of my life on the defensive, right? Always ready to either, get away from you or destroy you, and there was no in between. There was no gray line in between. It was either I'm going to get away from you or I'm going to have to push you out of my way. And if you was in my way of me trying to get to something, then you just became roadkill. I'm going to plow through you, right? And for the longest time, I didn't know that my stinking thinking was keeping me from now doing what I'm doing. But it took me a long time. It took me being humbled and humiliated to where my pride and ego had been destroyed. Because when you've been without for so long, you have nothing else left, right? And I didn't know what to do. I was lost just like most people, right? And so it took me trusting in the process, falling in love with the process. And you had said something, putting God first. I didn't know how to put God first, right? I spent most of my time fighting him and arguing with him, blaming him for the things I had to go through until it was revealed to me that everything I went through was setting me up for what I now do, right? So I didn't see the purpose in the pain. I was too busy cherishing my pain because it was a driving point for me and it was an excuse for me to do violence to other people, right? So I didn't understand that. But now I look back on it and I'm thankful and I appreciate. But you said also something that most people have a hard time doing was looking yourself in the mirror and forgiving yourself for the things that you didn't know and for the people that you hurt.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that when you're talking to people about that?
You know, you say a lot there. I'm like, wow, that's some good stuff there. You said a lot there. The first thing that I want to hit on before I forget it again, and that is you say there's purpose in pain. And that is so true. There is purpose in pain. Right now, we may not be able to see the purpose behind the pain, but if we push through that pain and we get on the other side, now we have the ability, the potential to share that pain on purpose for someone else, to live on purpose. And that's how it works. And so everything you go through is not just for you. It's for something that God has in plan in the future. So you're going through the process. And if you go through that process with an open mind to humble yourself and learn and grow, once you get on the other side, man, you will be in such gratitude. And with that gratitude and that humble heart, it gives you the ability to openly, authentically share that story with others. Because that's what it's for. It's not for you to keep. Everything you have is not for you to keep. It's for you to give. Like John Maxwell would say, be a river and not a reservoir. We have to share our knowledge. Because if we want this world to be better, if we want it to be bigger, better, then guess what? We got to be a part of that. We got to be a part of the pie, of the big old pie, which is the world. And our piece is to do what we can by sharing our story, sharing our lessons learned, so that someone else don't have to go through the same thing or don't have to go through it as badly, right? So that's the first thing is there is purpose through pain. And that was one of my chapters I believe I wrote in one of my anthologies was going through that, finding that purpose through your pain, which I did. The other thing that I believe you hit on, I'm trying to remember exactly what the words were, but it reminded me of something else, and that is there are steps that you can take to get to the other side, and you share with trust the process, and trust the process is one of my believe it's the fourth step of one of my 5 steps to dominate your life. And that is to trust the process. Because if you don't trust the process, you won't come with the mindset to go through it. You will probably come with most likely you will come with a negative mindset of trying to push through it without even really looking at the lesson you need to learn. Because in every pain, there is something we must learn in order to go to the next level, in order for us to close that chapter in our life and reborn a new chapter. But we first have to learn the lesson within that chapter before we can open the door and step into the next chapter. So you got to take time to follow that process and to learn what is needed for you to learn. There was another thing they kind of hit on too as well. And the main thing is we have to be aware, right? Awareness is key, is what I like to say. And the more you are aware of where you are and where you are trying to go, the better you can properly prepare yourself to move forward. Properly prepare yourself to understand what step I need to take now, in the now moment, right? And the more you do this, it will not only be a conscious thing, but it will be a subconscious thing when you just do it naturally. It becomes part of your DNA. So I'm always reflecting daily of the day. What did I do? What did I do well that day? What did I learn today? What can I do better tomorrow in order for tomorrow to be better than today? Like, these are the questions I ask myself while I lay my head down to rest. Because now, I didn't have this before in the past, but now I have a spirit of always wanting to learn, and I can learn from anybody. Because I'm trying to build that childlike curiosity. Because that is something that we as we go through life, we lost. It just goes away. It just goes in the back burner. But I'm trying my best to gain that childlike thought process of asking questions and learning, so that I can continue to grow and shape myself into the man that God truly wants me to be.
Right.
And that's how we do that. And I have come to the realization, I have come to the conclusion, this is how you do that. Always being in a sense of, what can I learn today? Right?
Yeah.
Just being happy about it. Because with that happiness, it's part of neuroencoding. With that happiness, your mind releases these chemicals in your body where you just be able to capture it, and you be able to learn it, and you be able to bring it into your being. And when you bring it into your being, there's something great about that. There is something great about that. So I love it. I love it.
I want to say my buddy's about to tune out, man. Brother, thank you for tuning in, man. And you can always catch the replay on YouTube. You already know, and everything. But man, have a great day, and love and miss you, man. We got to connect soon. So he's taking off, but we got more people tuning in on Instagram as well. And for everybody who has been tuning in and still on, thank you guys for that. And if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to answer them as we go. Now, Coach, you said a lot of things, and definitely want to touch on some of the things that you had said earlier when you was talking about deficiencies, right? Because I think most people really look past them. But also, I want to talk about, how do we recognize these deficiencies and the subconscious training that we have that make those deficiencies very habitual, to the fact of that, we repeat these things over and over and over and over again, right? Now, I say this because I have done these things, but I've also taken the work to look at myself and go, I don't want to be this way, right? I knew I didn't want to be an alcoholic anymore. I knew I didn't want to be a violent individual anymore. I knew there was a lot of things, but I didn't know what I wanted to be, right? For a very, very long time, because, you go through life and sometimes you just want to survive it. Right? Yeah. Sometimes when you have kids, sometimes you just want to be a father or a mother. You have family. You might want to just be a great nephew or a brother or something, or a sister or something like that, right? So I think most of our identity is tied into the things that we see and the things that we expect, along with the things that we're assuming. What are your thoughts on that?
You hit something big there, and that is identity. Everybody wants some type of identity, right? Everyone wants to be part of something, want to connect to something. So that's why things trend. When there's a new trend, everyone want to have some type of connection to that trend, because they have that sense of belonging. And we got to be very careful on that, right? Because that can bring us into, allow us to just connect ourselves with anything and anyone that may not be the person we need to have in our life. So when you become very clear of your own identity, like, what is that? You got to take time to discover, what is that? Who am I? Who am I? Right? And you're not going to get the answer overnight. It's going to take time. But the more you stay in that space, in that environment of trying to figure out to gain clarity of who am I, the more clearer it becomes. And the more clearer it becomes. And the more clearer it becomes. It's consistency. Consistency is the key. You have to continue to go through that again, trust in the process. Go through that process of reflection and really trying to discover and rediscover yourself, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, understanding the things that makes you tick. What are your triggers? Like, what is this? And the person that should know you the most, the best, is you. But we don't take time to understand ourselves. We don't. We take what we do, we put our time in trends. We put our time in social media. What is the hot thing right now? What is the hot topic? Instead, what if we flip that energy to ourselves, looking within ourselves and discovering that for ourselves? Again, you got to do it consistently, though, in order to get results. And once you understand where you are and understand where you want to go, who you want to become in the future, you can begin to create a game plan on the actions you need to take or the things you need to do in order to become the person you need to become. So there are small daily actions you would need to take in order to become that person. And once you understand what that is, one of the quickest way to get there, to go further faster, is to find someone else that's where you want to be.
Yes.
And you grab onto their coattail and you learn from them. And when they tell you to go do something, you do it. You add it as part of your curriculum, your growth curriculum. Look, everyone should have a growth curriculum in life. Personal development. It's personal development 101. So when you have that person, you find that person, that coach. And guess what? That person don't have to be in front of you all the time. That person could be a book. That person could be a video that they put on YouTube like this. That person could be a podcast. That person could be anything that can point to your inner gates, your ears, your eyes, so that you can conscious and subconsciously program yourself, or should I say, reprogram yourself, so that you will speak the things that you want to speak over your life. One of the power that we have, that God has gracefully given us, and I am so thankful for, is that we have the power of our voice, the power of the tongue. I can speak life or I can speak death. And it's up to us to decide what we want over our life. So I don't know about you, but I want to speak life over myself. So I speak life over myself. I have I am statements. And those I am statements and those affirmations, I read them daily. And that's what helped me to reprogram my mind, to reframe my mind. And by doing that, I begin to just subconsciously do the actions or take the actions I need to take in my life. And now it's natural to me. But it took time. It took time for me to reprogram my thinking with visualization. And I literally used to visualize. Like, visualization is very powerful. Using your I am statements and your affirmations, and you visualizing those things becoming reality. Closing your eyes, taking deep breaths, doing mindfulness, meditating on these things, and visualizing your future self. What is that? Who is that? So becoming very clear on what that is, you can begin to reprogram your mind to look for those things. And naturally, when you out and about just living life, that's what I like to do now. I just like to live life. The things that you want to come into your life will just be drawn to you. It's like a magnet. So what you tell the universe, the thing that you want, Guess what? The universe want to give it to you, but you got to put out the right vibrations. And when you put out the right vibrations, things happen. And it happens for you, for your life.
No,
But
you
it takes time.
touched on it. Yeah, you touched on a couple of things, man. I want to touch on a few of them. You know, having people that inspire you, right? People that are in places that you would like to be in to learn from, right? You know what I'm saying? And be coachable, right? Because you have to be coachable in order to do it. Because if you can dream yourself being there, you have to have somebody to help guide you. And
Yes.
most importantly, you have to be able to take instructions, right?
Yes.
You have to be able to be criticized and things like that without taking personal. But to take that
Yes.
information and go, I can apply this because they have the best interest in your life, right?
Yeah.
In what you're doing. And I say this because when I first started this journey, my mentors were the motivational speakers. It was the Eric Thomases, it was the Inky Johnsons, it was the Steve Harveys, because I couldn't afford to go and see them in person. So I used to pretend like I was sitting in the audience with them watching the YouTube channel, and I used to take what they say personally. And they kept talking about this thing, the process. I never could figure it out. I was like, what is this process that they're telling me I have to fall in love with? Right. But what I was subconsciously doing was paying attention. I was relinquishing the things that was holding me back. I was redeveloping these so-called safety nets because I realized there was no safety net to it. I had to be free and visualizing where I wanted to be. And I just knew that this path, it was so strong in my heart that I couldn't let it go. Right. And I just knew I wanted to follow it. No matter what happened, there was a lot of things that happened along the way. But I was able to accept it, not take it personally, but learn the lessons in it. Now, this is where I give a huge shout out to someone who really impacted me. And I don't think he really know how much he impacted me. My friend Dave Armstrong over in Greece. First time he and I started talking, he didn't know how much of an inspiration that he was to me. But he was also one of the first people to hold me accountable. He, like, if I would say something, he would come back in and go, "Why are you doing that?" And he would get on my case. You know what I'm saying? He would get on my case, and I would look at it. I would like, and by him being in Greece, we did a lot of we do a lot of our conversations virtually, and I would tell you, for him to take the time early in the morning over there to talk to me in the early afternoon, was real huge. And so, I was really blessed and fortunate, and I still watch him and stuff like that, man. I watch things that he do, and I take those little notes and put it down there, and he still inspires me to this day, just because I'm blessed and fortunate to have him in my life. And there was a couple things that you had said too, just going back a little bit. Reading books. I used to always love reading books, but I always read the wrong types of books. Right? I always read the books that had to do with shoot 'em up, bang bangs, westerns, or basic books. Oh my God, I'm going to read Dracula today. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I remember the first impactful book that I read was Seven Successful Habits of Successful People. And I still read that book to the day because every time I read it, I find something in there that I can grab onto in order to keep developing my mindset and to keep moving in the right direction. And something else that you had said too, was surrounding yourself with individuals that know how to speak life and love into you, right? Not just over top of you. And that was something that I figured out along the way too. The more people speak life and love to you or speak it over you, you become more receptive to people speaking life and love into you, right? And it becomes one of those things. It's a feeling that you get, and you begin to take, at least for me, I did anyway. I began to take that. I began to reverse the way I spoke to myself. Now, am I perfect? No, I still get on myself from time to time.
Yep.
And the curiosity that I have into this world, I got from my son, right? You know what I'm saying? Because when he was a kid, he corrected me one time because he had got in trouble, and I went to him, and I got on this case something fierce, and he looked at me. He said, "Dad," he goes, "I'm only your kid, right? And I'm going to make mistakes. I'm sure that you made mistakes when you were a child too, you know. So, but it's part of, I don't mind you correcting me, but I shouldn't be getting in trouble over everything, right? These are little things I'm still learning. That's why I need you to help guide me, so I know what to do when you're not around." And that stuck with me. From that day forth, I started to look at the life through his eyes, the curiousness that he had in it, and the joy of awe of every time he stepped out into the world. It's like a brand new day. And it dawned on me, yesterday doesn't matter, but today does. I can't change yesterday, but I can take the lessons from yesterday and apply it to the day. Tomorrow is the future. I have an idea. I have goals that I've written down, but I don't know what it looks like until I step into it. So it's the now that I focus on. It's the relationships that I build. It's the people that I learn from that help me keep doing what I do, because my main goal in life is to keep having an impact in people's lives through the work that I do, but to also encourage other people through creativity to break through that glass ceiling and not allowing your limiting beliefs to hold you in one general area, but to explore everything that has to do with you, right? And envision yourself being in those situations. I don't know. That's, and again, these are just my thoughts that I have on it, and things like that. But I want to talk about what was your decision to work with the youth? Because I find that very, very important, right? Because the youth that we speak like love into become the leaders of the world that we will leave behind for them. And so I think it's really important that the road that we're on, that we leave a high enough mark which encourages them to do better than what we have.
Yeah. So I want to start off with the saying that I learned. That is, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Because it is. It's the now time. And it is a gift wrapped up for us to be like a child and open it up and discover what's inside. Every day, if we live every day like that, man, we will learn so much about ourselves, about others, about the world for a good purpose. All right. And that is to better ourselves. Like, how can we lead others if we're not leading ourselves? How? You can't. You can't teach others if you're not learning anything. So we have to take it upon ourselves to learn. We have to, because no one's going to do it for us. No one's going to do it for us. For the youth, the reason why, one of the main reasons why I continue to mentor the youth or speak life into the youth is because there's a lot of opportunities out there now that I didn't have when I was growing up. There was people, I had people that were speaking life into me, but not the way how I do it or the way how I am now experiencing now. So it's like, I want to give back, especially to my community, to my neighborhood, because they don't get that in the rural South, in the country, right? So it's like, what can I do to help the next generation? Like, what can I do? What can I do? And that is to give back. That is to share my story. That is to talk with them, to mentor them, to coach them. And through that time of coaching, sharing them my lessons learned. So that way, if it's something that's not good, they now know not to do it. If it is good, now they know there is a possibility that they can do the same thing too. And that's the thing, being a role model for them so that they know, there's someone who looks like me, or there's someone who came from where I came from, or there's someone who's been through what I've been through. I can connect with that. Maybe I can do it too. And what you just created, you created them thinking, dreaming, visualizing the future. And that's the reason why I do it, because I want to help them to see something different that cause them to visualize, I can get away from here, so that I can build my inner circle, the right inner circle, so I can surround myself with the right people, so I can be in the right environment. And when I came back from my first deployment in 2012, in 2013, I joined an affiliation called Amway, and I'm glad that I joined that influence, and joined that environment, because they had a growth mindset. And the most important part of the organization was the leadership team development program, where you could subscribe into audios, and they would give you a book list that you could buy books to be able to read. And that's really where my self-development started, was with that organization. And I had mentors and coaches, Joy and Brittany Liggins, and Rich Mullins, and Jasmine Mullins, and Nate and Carmen, like those people that I still know to this day, because they poured into my life when I needed the most. Instead of going to therapy for help, I went to a positive environment, like-minded people who had a growth mindset mentality. And that started me on the right path. And I am so grateful for them. I'm not with them now, because that was my chapter that I needed to be there for a couple of years to get to where I'm at now. That was my journey. But those people, they still remain in my heart, because they have helped me so much. And there's the reason why I do what I do. And they are the reason why I know some of the knowledge that I have, because of the books that they imparted to me to read. Even though I hated reading, I hate it with a passion, but I realized the importance of reading. So that's why I have a love for it now, because I understand that there's so much knowledge in the world, so much knowledge in these pages. So I read as much as I can. I really do audio. I can read the audio book just like that. I read 1.5, 1.75, 2 times the speed. Now, it took me some years to get there, but now I can read through a book just like that, and I can read it multiple times. I can go through it. And that has helped me to continue to grow and to learn. And I gain the knowledge, and I pour it into others. I gain the knowledge, and I pour into others. I gain the knowledge, and I pour it to others. That is my process. Everything is a system. Everything is an ecosystem. Everything has a process. And if you see it that way and you understand the process, you just go with that process, and everything will just flow. But to come back to the topic at hand, that's the reason why I mentor the youth, is because I've been where they are. And I know most of them don't have a role model, or they don't see a role model. So I want to be that role model. I want to be that supporter. And that helps me to do my very best to be good, do my very best to stay out of trouble, because I'm a role model, right? Like I was thinking about when I was mentoring these youth at the summer camp these past couple of days, I was thinking, man, I really got to stay on a straight and narrow path, because so much people look up to me. Like I can't mess up. I got to stay good. And I got to stay grounded in my foundation in God. And what I did was it gave me a stronger drive, a stronger will to push forward, a stronger me. So I love it. So I'm still learning to this day of me and who I am. And I'm really starting to pour out my passion on a higher level because I see the importance of it. Like, if I don't do it, who will? That's where I'm at. I mean, in a sense of urgency. Like, if I don't do it, who will? So why not step up to the plate? Why not step up to the plate? Right? I'm getting fired up.
I love it, man. I love it because of the simple fact of I started realizing that a few years ago, after I got into doing grief work and everything, because when I first got in here, there wasn't too many men that was doing what I was doing, but I was determined. And I had my ups and downs. Imposter syndrome used to set in on me pretty good, right? Because when you have hundreds of doors being slammed in your face and people looking at you like, who is this dude, right? Thinking he's just going to come in here and he's focused on working with men. Like, we need to focus on the women. And I was just looking at him and go, man, do you not see all of the resources that you guys have?
Yep.
Like, I'm just one person in here, and I just really want to reach these men and provide a space for us to be able to come in and be supported, right? And I didn't know that it was going to take me along this path, but I knew that this was the path that I wanted to be on. I was so determined about it. But when the imposter syndrome used to come in, I used to doubt myself to no end, and we are our own worst enemies. I used to question myself, like, why are you doing this to me? Like, no one cares about this right here. But then I would have to go back in and I would have to talk to myself and say, no, just because no one else is doing it doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be done. That was 6 years ago. I stepped with it. I said, regardless of what happens, I have to see this through. And what I didn't realize is that when it opened up the doors to so many other things to be able to happen, I took the good with the bad. Well, I can't even say it was bad. I took the good with the challenges. And like you said, I learned the lessons that I needed to learn. And I dug deeper into listening to people, that was on YouTube, because I can envision myself being in the roles that they were in. And I heard a quote one time, and you touched on it a little bit. And Steve Harvey said it. He says, your dreams are life's previews of what's to come. And I wasn't a big believer in dreams and things like that, because when you deal with so many nightmares, your dreams kind of get conflicted with one another. And so it kept me on the defensive, like, why would I trust my own dreams? I've never dreamed of a life beyond this right here. And right now, I'm drawing a blank. But when the dream started to come, I began to look at it and go, is it possible? Is it possible that this little poor boy from Virginia can change his life and be able to impact and encourage other people to do theirs? Can I do it in a way and remain humble?
Humble, that's it.
Allow my ego and my pride to dictate, you know what I'm saying, what I do. So everything now, I've gotten to a point now to everything now, I appreciate the little things, but it's really hard for me to take credit for the things that I do.
Yeah.
Because the credit isn't mine. I'm just the vessel of the person that's giving it to me, right? And I'm thankful every day when God comes in and he says, are you ready for the day? And there's days where I go, I'm up for 3 or 4 days at a time, because I'm like, I have to do these things because I want to see if I can get other people to think outside of their comfort zone and put themselves in situations to where it allow the growth to come in, right? But I think the most beautiful thing is that I love seeing people become who they're supposed to be, right? the person that they envision, because I think that's sexy, right? I do believe that that's the most sexiest thing that you can do, when you can submit, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Submit to the
Submit.
journey, but be obedient
Yep.
to the course that you're on, right? Stay the course.
Yep.
Stay the course, man. And I think that's a huge thing, and you know, and the message that you get out there to people, especially to the youth. And you know, and this one area where I haven't really ventured off to, because I've been working with the older men, so they can encourage their younger generation to go out here. You know what I'm saying? So we have to heal, right? You know what I'm saying? We have to heal from all the things that we endure in this journey, men and women alike, because what one of the things that I really touch on into my life is that you can't have one without the other. So you're going to have to go through some things, because you're going to have to complete these chapters, as you said before. You have to complete the chapters in order to move on to the next one. But you are the author of your own story. You are the author, and that's important to keep in mind. And you know, to not take life personally, right?
I agree.
Have false expectations. Because when we have these false expectations, we expect things and people to be a certain way, and when they don't turn out to be that way, we become very disappointed.
Yep.
So if you allow people, if you can accept people for who they are along the way, you can do some pretty amazing things, because you realize that not everybody's going to be like you, and you're not going to be like everyone else. This is the power of individuality.
Yes.
Learn to embrace that and claim yourself along the path.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think about
that? I agree. And you know, when we walk this journey, when you accept the call, whatever your calling is, heavy is the mantle for you to walk that. But when you accept it with full conviction, it doesn't matter how heavy it gets. You continue to just pick one foot over the other, and you continue to take that step forward. I would tell you personally, sometimes some mornings I wake up, I'm like, I just want to lay in the bed today. Can I just take a break? Can I just sleep all day? Just for the day, please. But then I remind myself of my purpose and I jump up. But then there is time where you must rest. I mean, you can find many stories in the Bible where they took time to rest. And your body will tell you when that time is. Your mind will truly tell you when that time is. So when I'm planning out my quarter, my year, I make sure to put in time for rest. I put in time purposefully so that I can rewire myself, to re-energize myself, so that when I go out there, I'm not giving a half. I'm giving my all, right? Because that is very important. When you show up, you have to show out. So yes, the mantle is heavy. However, you have to continue, like you said, continue to walk that walk forward. And talking about men in general, broken men live broken lives. So in order to fix the broken life, you have to fix the broken men. You have to fix them, and they have to fix themselves. But first, that's it. They have to fix themselves. Give them, like, it's just like trying to bring the horse to the water. You can't force them to drink, right? So sharing these resources, giving them the support they need, sooner or later, a breakthrough will come through where they will see the light, and then they will begin to make that change. And when they begin to fix themselves, they not only fix themselves, but they fix their family, they fix their children's lives, their wife lives. So if we really want to fix homes, if we really want to fix families, We need to fix the man
Mhm.
because that has a multiplying effect in families. It does.
It
And
does.
that is the process. That is the way how the world was created and made. So if we truly want to fix some of our issues, we gotta fix the man. We
Mhm.
have to. We have to, right? I mean, that's just my perspective. What I
No, you're right.
my walk in life, what I have experienced. Like if you want true change in the families, you have to fix the man.
I
And
want to add to that
go ahead.
before we wrap this up, right? Because you're absolutely right, but I changed the verbiage on it, right? From broken to hurt. The reason
Mm,
of being now, you know what I'm saying? If you repeat this to yourself, instead of saying I am broken, be honest with yourself and say I am deeply hurt. Because what it does, just like the word broken, you would tend to follow a path that would lead you to believe that you are broken. You're
mm,
not a thing, right? You know what I'm saying? You're not an object. You can break a bone, but a bone will heal. You can break an object, you can glue it back together. These are all true. But if you admit that you're hurting, you begin to uh,
awareness. Right?
awareness, but you will seek paths of healing, right? And so you're absolutely right. Once we can start to do this and get the men to admit that you're hurt, there's a truth that comes along with that. And those men will actually start to stand up and be better role models,
Hmm.
right? It would allow the children to have um, someone that they can possibly follow and and learn from. And then we go out into the communities. We begin to stand up for what is right. We begin to protect our children and our elderly and the women in our communities because we're all important. We're
Yeah.
all important in this journey.
Yes, I agree.
And
I
so
agree.
we set each other. You can't have one without the other, regardless of what you may believe or what you may think. We all are. This is a team effort, and you have to be able to encourage each other and be able to uplift each other when we are weakest, right?
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
because as you speak life into the communities, into our children, into our women, they do the same to us.
Hmm.
It encourages us because we're
Hmm.
not perfect. We're
Hmm.
not perfect whatsoever. And the minute that we understand that, the minute that we can begin to be perfect, not in each other's eyes, but in the eyes of God, right?
Yes.
To be who we're meant to be. Whether if
Yes.
it's just a father, maybe you're just a worker, maybe you're an entrepreneur. You mentioned something earlier, and I want to touch on this before we wrap up. Amway. So that was when I lost everything the last time after my mother passed away. I did connect with Amway. I was homeless and everything. I was sleeping in my car, and I connected with these people, and I started going there, and I was surrounded by entrepreneurs and things like that. And I'm learning the books and everything that they give you, right? You know what I'm saying? The team building. I started
Mm.
paying attention to those
Yep.
things,
Yep. Yep.
right? Now, you know what my biggest problem was? Is that I'm not a follower, right? But I'm also
Mm.
not a leader. I don't want you to follow me, right? But I couldn't follow other people because, as most people will lead you down a road that sometimes it's not the funnest, right? You may find yourself in situations like, how in the world did I get here?
You look back like,
Yeah,
wow.
like, hold on, I had my own journey. I had some problems. But it was the lessons that came along with it that I
Yes.
held on to and
Yep.
things like that. And so along this journey, I just want to encourage people. Find your path that you're on. Surround yourself with different people. Be a
Hmm.
sponge. Be coachable. Be able
Yes.
to be mentored, but also be able to go out into the world and mentor other people and encourage those other people to go out and keep passing it along.
Yes.
So, and the reason why I say that is because when I understood my role in people's lives, it made it a lot easier to show up. But also understanding my role into the world of being a servant, right? To be of
Mhm.
service to people in
Yes.
such a way to where it encourages other people um, to live their best possible life and to be able to understand your journey, right? To know and see other people's journeys as well. Maybe even take some of the things that you've learned and to be able to look at them and go, like my friend had told me, my friend and my brother told me, hey man, pay attention to what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Hold you accountable, right? That way you don't keep repeating the same habits over and over and over again. And if you are going to repeat those habits, make sure you surround yourself with people that have good habits.
Mm-hmm.
Take them on something, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Take on these good habits,
Yep.
and use them. Use them as fuel, as David Goggins would say. Callous yourself. Be prepared for what your life is going to throw at you, and put yourself in uncomfortable situations on a day-to-day basis so you can grow. Right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's it.
Phrase that he said. He says you have to be common amongst uncommon men.
Mm-hmm.
When people can understand that phrase, changes the dynamic of how you walk, talk, and how you act.
Yep.
So now, do you have any closing thoughts on that before we begin to wrap this up?
Everyone, with everything that we just shared today, we all have some type of calling over our life, and once we figure that out, we can be able to start walking the walk that we are designed to walk. And I just want you to know, everyone, from the sound of my voice, you have the potential. You have the ability. You just got to step up and step out. And when you begin to take action, the right type of action, it's just like having good intentions. Good intentions is saying that you just is what it is. You just have good intentions. You have a desire. You have a desire to do something. But to take it to the next step, you have to take action on those desires. And once you begin to take action on those desires, you receive a thing we call results. And results is a life of significance. So if you want to move into the realm of significance, you got to turn your desires into action and your actions into results. And if you follow that one common concept, you will begin to see a different world. The goal is to create a transformed life. Now, everyone on how they transform their life will be different. However, the concept is always the same. And that is, you have to be willing and able to learn and grow yourself. You got to be willing to step up and step out into your calling. And no one else is going to do that for you. You need to take time, look yourself in the mirror, eyeball to eyeball, and talk to yourself. Speak life over yourself and begin to take action. Not action here and there, but daily action. So it becomes part of your programming. And once it becomes part of your programming, becoming part of your conscious, it becomes part of your subconscious mind. That's where you want to be. That's where you want it to be. You want to be in your subconscious mind where it happens naturally. But you have the potential. We all do. We all have this ability to learn this skill. We all do. So just continue the fight. Continue to believe in yourself. Continue to move forward. Never give up. Never give in. And always, I have to say this, always keep God first in everything that you do. And if you do that, I will see you at your peak on the mountaintop. Take care.
Love that. I got two more questions for you before we wrap it up. First question would be, how can people find you?
Easy. Social media is at Teon Singletary. Very simple. At Teon Singletary on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn. It may be at Teon Singletary or at Coach Teon Singletary on LinkedIn. But you can find me there on that social media platform, or you go to my website that you see here on the screen, www.teonsingletary, which spelled teonsingletary.com. And that will give you some links to all my social media platforms. If you can't find it yourself, just go to that website. It gives you all the social media links and also some freebies as well that can help you start your growth journey.
Love that. So now my second question. If Coach Teon had a superpower, what would it be?
Tenacity. That's why I had the lions. It represents who I am.
Okay.
You have to have a tenacity of a lion to go after the things that God has placed in your heart to do. And don't allow no one, and I mean no one, to stop you. If it comes from God, why can't you have the tenacity to step out boldly into your purpose? You got to do it.
Yeah, that's deep. I love that. I love that. And with that being said, everybody who's been tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to wrap up this episode of Brief Let's Talk About It podcast. Big shout out to my man, Coach Teon, for coming on and sharing this amazing story, his work, and motivating us to go out here and think outside the box, but, to become our best versions of ourselves. And if you want to, guys, his information is in the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go there and check him out, please go there and check him out. He got some freebies in there for you as well, right? You know what I'm saying? So we out here doing big things, as I always say. We're out here changing people's lives one heartbeat at a time. This is going to conclude this episode of Let's Talk About It podcast. And do me a favor before you tune out, head on over to their YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode, because we're rapidly growing and we're just going to keep growing and keep impacting people's lives. But most importantly, maybe you know someone who can benefit from the conversations that we have. Do me a favor, share this along with them. If you guys don't want to subscribe, that's totally fine. But if you do, I totally appreciate it, because we got more coming. We do a podcast every day, and we're going to see you guys tomorrow. Coach, thank you again for your time and for your energy and your message. And for everyone else, we're going to catch you guys in the next one. Love you, and always thank you guys for your support. And we are out.